The news at 5:30 starts right now.
Jumping into action, a heroic story coming out of the fire at Terrytown Apartments near Vance Jackson and Fredericksburg Road last night. Our Devin Karp was there this morning and spoke with a woman who lived in one of those 12 units burned. She says when she saw the flames, she leapt into action to help her vulnerable neighbors.
Well, last night all I smelled was smoke in my apartment, and I stepped out, opened the front door, and there was smoke everywhere. You couldn't see.
When the flames of this fire started spreading in her room at the Terrytown Apartments, Frances Gaitan ran back into her burning building looking for two things: her elderly neighbors.
And I went back and I was banging on her window, and the other lady, she's in a wheelchair. But I couldn't handle the smoke anymore, so I had to get out.
And finding her dog, Lola.
This is my baby. She just turned a year old in July. Say hi, Lola. She panicked last night too, but she's my life. She's my life, you know. I couldn't leave her behind.
Firefighters say the fire started around 9 o'clock Saturday night in apartment building H. Flames quickly spread to the attic and smoke filled the entire complex.
I couldn't see anything because of the smoke. My eyes are really hurting. My eyes are really sensitive.
The fire would scorch through 12 units. Security will stay at the complex after SAFD deemed the building unsafe for anyone to enter.
I haven't been able to sleep. It's just, I keep seeing it. You know, just keep seeing it.
As terrible as the fire was, Frances is grateful she was there to help her neighbors.
Nature, I mean, it's just me. You know, I'm always helping the people out. I'm their Uber. I call myself their Uber because they need to go to the store, and I take them wherever. You know, it's just something to do and help people out.
While SAFD says no one was hurt, Frances tells me she and a few other residents were treated for smoke inhalation at the scene as crews battled the fire.
We sat over here, and it's just, I couldn't help it but cry. You know, I couldn't hold back the tears.
Thanks to funds from the Red Cross and transitional housing from the San Antonio Housing Authority, Frances says she has hope for the future.
So, God willing, everything will be okay. And I know we have a lot of people praying for us, so our blessings are going to be great.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
So glad everyone's okay there. To another big story from last night, we're starting to learn more about the deadly shooting that happened outside of a taco cabana late last night. We first told you about this on the Night Beat. Police say the man that died in the shooting was 52 years old. We're still waiting for his full identification as well as suspect information. SAPD says they're working to track down security video from that taco cabana to help them in their investigation. We're also learning more about a wanted robbery suspect that was shot and killed by SAPD officers on Friday night. The medical examiner says the man was killed he was 34 years old, and his name was Roberto Gonzalez. Police say they were watching Gonzalez early Friday morning, and when they tried to pull him over, he drove away and then ran in front of them. Chief William McManus says Gonzalez eventually pointed a gun at officers who then shot and killed him. All the officers involved have been placed on administrative leave while the department investigates. More than 20 people shot when gunfire erupted in a busy entertainment district in Birmingham, Alabama. 4 people were killed and at least 17 others injured in what police say they believe was a targeted shooting. ABC's Mike Dubusky reports investigators are asking for the public's help as they search for multiple suspects.
Police in Birmingham, Alabama are searching for what they believe are multiple shooters who opened fire on a crowd Saturday night around 11 o'clock.
Approximately over 100 shell casings were collected, along with numerous other pieces of evidence.
It happened in the city's 5 Points South area, known for its restaurants and bars. The area is normally busy on Saturday nights. Investigators say multiple shooters pulled up in a car, got out, and fired shots before driving away. While several innocent people were hit by bullets, police say they do not believe this was random.
We believe the individual that was targeted is among the deceased. We believe that there was a hit, if you will, on that particular person, as far as, someone was willing to pay money to have that person killed.
3 people died at the scene and another victim died at the hospital. At least 17 others were injured, some with life-threatening injuries.
It was very devastating, very, and sad. Like the grieving type screaming, like, I know someone is hurt or have passed away.
Birmingham's mayor is calling on laws to be changed to give law enforcement the tools to get guns off the streets.
We found ourselves in 2024 where gun violence is at an epidemic level and an epidemic crisis in our country. Is it solvable? The answer is yes. Does it require everyone to come together? The answer is also yes.
Local police are working with the FBI and the ATF on the investigation. Authorities are asking for the public's help and urging businesses in the area that have surveillance cameras to contact them. Mike Dubusky, ABC News, New York.
Our Solutionaries series shines a spotlight on the people, programs, and places finding ways to solve problems in our community. And our next edition is about a local man who isn't just filling a gap here, but across the globe. Gordon Hartman is the definition of a solutionary. He created Morgan's Wonderland, the first ever all-inclusive theme park for people with special needs. Since Morgan's Wonderland, he's added about 13 other projects for that population.
We went out to the special needs community. We went out to doctors. We went out to therapists. We went out to grandparents. We went out to caregivers. We had numerous town halls to learn. And then from that is how we determine what to build.
Tonight on The Night Beat, I go back to the beginning with Hartman, his life, his purpose, his solutions, and how they are quite literally changing the world. Still to come on the news at 5:30, the race to the White House is nearing the home stretch. A recap of the weekend on the campaign trail, plus a look at the week ahead. With controversy swirling in North Carolina, former President Donald Trump returned to the key battleground state for a rally on Saturday. Vice President Kamala Harris not making any campaign appearances, but did post on X that she's accepted an invitation for another debate against the former president. Here's ABC's Chuck Severson with the details.
Former President Trump hosted a rally in North Carolina Saturday, days after his party's nominee for governor in the state, Mark Robinson, was hit with controversy. Trump not mentioning Robinson at the rally. Instead, he stressed the importance of the battleground state.
We got to win. This is a very important state. We win this state, I think it's going to be over fast.
Robinson has denied he made a series of racist and inflammatory posts decades ago, which were detailed in a recent CNN report. ABC News has not independently confirmed the reporting. Vice President Harris not making any campaign appearances on Saturday. Instead, the vice president posted on X saying she has accepted an offer from CNN for a second presidential debate against Donald Trump on October 23rd, less than 2 weeks before Election Day. Trump responding.
She's done one debate. I've done two. It's too late to do another. I'd love to in many ways, but it's too late.
The former president saying it's too late because voting has already started. Chuck Severson, ABC News, New York.
And we are a little less than 2 months away from Election Day. To stay up to date on all the coverage here at home and on the campaign trail, make sure to follow along on our Vote 2024 page on our website, KSAT.com.
All right, in the meantime, let's head outside with live cam this Sunday evening. Happy first official day of fall, but you definitely wouldn't know it if you just stepped outside without looking at the calendar, because it has been a very toasty end to the weekend. You've had high temperatures in the mid-90s in many locations, feeling even hotter whenever you do factor in the humidity. As we look ahead to the upcoming week, still a hot and humid start, at least through Wednesday. Low to mid-90s continue with that moisture in place. We are expecting, though, a few changes to work in. Isolated rain chances return, especially by Tuesday and Wednesday, followed by a weak frontal boundary that looks to bring in some drier air and perhaps some cooler mornings as well. We're going to get you all those details coming up after this.
Well, it's fall.
Happy fall, y'all.
Happy fall, I guess.
But I guess because we're still in the 90s today, a very summer-like start to this fall season. However, we do have some more encouraging signals that we'll see some drier air and a more seasonable feel work in ahead of next weekend. So let's talk all about it. I do want to start off, though, with a look at these temperatures. Low to mid-90s for the most part across the board. 94 right now in San Antonio. It's 97, though, on the south side of Bexar County at Stinson. When you factor in the humidity that is still in place, notice it feels closer to 100 degrees in many locations, especially over in New Braunfels and Gonzales right now. So it is still going to be warm and muggy if you're stepping out for any Sunday evening plans. Wish that we were able to put together that heat and the humidity a little bit better when it came to rain chances today. For the most part, just very, very isolated and stray. We've seen a few splashes of light rain across our far southeastern counties. However, for the most part, we have been dry, and that will continue to be the theme through the overnight. It is possible, though, however, as we see a weak boundary approach our far northwestern counties, northern Edwards, northern Valverde County, a few isolated showers can't completely be ruled out by and just after midnight tonight. However, you can see for the vast majority of south central Texas, we will stay dry. That will still be the case as well into our Monday, but by 4, 5, 6 p.m., we'll introduce a 10 to potentially even 20% chance for an isolated shower to pop up. Coverage is expected to be very low and limited. A 20% chance is in the forecast on Tuesday, another isolated potential into Wednesday, likely peaking by the middle of the week. Then we start to see that lower humidity work in ahead of next weekend, and rain chances are out of the forecast as a result. So let's talk about those changes. High pressure still in control for the most part right now. That's why it's been hot out there today, why it was hot out there over the past several days. Notice, though, there already is a weak frontal boundary moving across the state of Texas. As that approaches our far northwestern counties tonight, it looks to fizzle out and stall. That will continue Tuesday and into Wednesday. Then we see a reinforcing piece of energy, a disturbance working from the north. By Thursday, that's what's going to push that boundary through south central Texas. And in its wake, we see some of that drier air move in, where you will really notice that in the mornings, especially by Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. More seasonable for this time of year. The average low is 68. We'll be closer to the upper 60s, more refreshing as well whenever you do walk outside. But we still have a few more mornings of muggy conditions that we'll need to get through, and that all starts with your Monday. So here's a look at your KSAT 12-hour forecast for tomorrow. 75 degrees by 7 a.m. with mostly cloudy skies. That cloud cover will continue for any lunchtime plans at noon. 85 degrees expected there. A forecast high right around 93. Partly cloudy skies into the afternoon, and again, just a 10 to 20% potential for a stray shower in the forecast. Here's a look at high temperatures across the region. 94 in Floresville, 93 in Bandera, potentially a few upper 80s as you get into portions of the hill country and the higher elevations. All right, I do want to briefly touch on the tropics. The National Hurricane Center still monitoring an area in the Western Caribbean and even the central and southern Gulf of Mexico, giving it a likely chance of tropical development as a disturbance works northward. This is expected to stay well east of the state of Texas, so this is of no big concern for us. However, as it gets picked up by the upper level winds in the atmosphere in between a high pressure off to the east and a low pressure off to the northwest, it does look to likely make landfall somewhere in between Mississippi and Florida later on this week by about Thursday and Friday. If it does reach tropical storm status, it would be given the term Helene. Again, no concern for us here in San Antonio, Courtney, just isolated rain chances, and looking forward to those changes in that drier air ahead of next weekend.
Looking forward to it a lot. Thank you, Mia. Okay, Mary, Texans fans not happy today.
Yeah, not much went right for the Texans up north today. We'll show you the highlights between Houston and the Vikings. We'll also update you on the Cowboys game against Baltimore. And for the second straight week, the Texas Longhorns are ranked first nationally. That and more when we come back. The Houston Texans and Minnesota Vikings both enter Week 3 2-0, and with so many familiar faces on both sidelines, makes it mean that much more to potentially hand the other their first loss of the season. Texans star quarterback C.J. Stroud visits Minneapolis with the longest active streak without an interception thrown in the NFL. However, Stroud's first pass is deflected at the line by Harrison Phillips, and the Vikings gobble it up. That's Stroud's first INT in 10 starts, and that sets the tone for the game. Minnesota picks up on the Houston 21, and it doesn't take long for Sam Darnold to find Justin Jefferson for the 6-yard touchdown. 7-0 Vikings. Now, another impressive stat, Texans kicker Kaimi Fairbairn is the only player perfect so far this season from 50-plus yards out, until he misses this 54-yard field goal attempt wide right. It's just that kind of day for Houston. And to make matters worse, the Texans would commit 6 pre-snap penalties in the first half alone. 4-time Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunzel had 3 of them, whether it was in legal formation or false start. Houston's offense not helping itself, and the Vikings led 14-0 at halftime. Minnesota would take a 21-0 lead right out of the intermission on a Darnold 4-yard pass to Jalen Naylor, who's stepping in for an injured Jordan Addison. And on Houston's next drive, former Texan Jonathan Grenard sacked Stroud, resulting in a 3-and-out. Grenard sacked his former teammate on 3 different occasions when it was all said and done. Later in the quarter, Stroud would anchor the Texans' first touchdown drive of the game, capped off by a Cam Akers 8-yard rushing touchdown. But Stroud would be picked off once more by the Vikings' explosive defense led by Brian Flores. And in the end, Minnesota wins 34-7. Houston falls to 2-1 on the season. And D'Amico Ryan says the penalty issues start with him.
We didn't do anything to help ourselves. Way too many penalties again. That starts with me. It's too many penalties, back-to-back game, over 10 penalties. It's unacceptable. You can't win that way when we have something positive going. We negate it by the penalty. So that just zaps the energy out of everyone. And so then turning the ball over, there's a lot of miscues today. And you can't do that and expect to win in this league. So we have to, we take the loss and we got to move on.
A lot of miscues is right. All right, moving on, a live scoring update from Arlington. The Cowboys trail the Ravens 28-6. The Ravens are 0-2 coming into the game. Dallas is 1-1. We'll have the highlights tonight on Instant Replay. And looking ahead to your Instant Replay poll question tonight, the game isn't over quite yet, but so far this season, how concerned are you with the Cowboys defense? They let up 44 points last week. Today, 28 so far. Vote now at ksat.com/sports/poll, or you can use the QR code on the screen, and we'll have the results at the end of Instant Replay tonight. Yesterday, inside of the Alamo Dome, UTSA quarterback Owen McCown threw 3 touchdown passes in a 45-7 rout of Houston Christian, an FCS program who shares a conference with Incarnate Word. The win gives the Roadrunners an important confidence boost ahead of AAC play, but don't be fooled. McCown expects perfection and wasn't totally satisfied with his performance.
It wasn't bad, I'm just glad we got the win. There's always little things. It wasn't perfect and not where I want it to be, but it was progress, and that's all we can ask for. But glad we got the win.
Good thing to hear from your quarterback. Next Saturday, the Roadrunners open up conference action at ECU. It'll be a 3 o'clock kickoff. Well, in Arch Manning's first college start, the backup QB led Texas to a lopsided 51-3 victory over UL Monroe. The Longhorns are now 4-0 and hold on to number 1 in the season's 5th AP rankings. Next, we'll see if Texas can uphold their status now that their preseason is done, as Steve Sarkisian calls it, when they make their SEC debut next week at Mississippi State. San Antonio's Nalissa Smith making her WNBA debut alongside Caitlin Clark and the 3rd-seeded Indiana Fever in a best-of-3 first-round series against the 2nd-seeded Connecticut Sun. Smith had a quiet day, only played 9 minutes. Kelsey Mitchell led the Fever with 21 points. Clark added 8 assists, but it wasn't enough to yield the Sun. Connecticut wins Game 1 93-69. Game 2 is on Wednesday. Should be an exciting one.
Just love to see them playing.
Yes.
In that league. It's amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Mary. And we'll be right back after that. It is almost time for this year's Head for the Cure 5K. It's on September 28th at Providence Catholic School across from the KSAT studios downtown. That is next weekend. KSAT supports Head for the Cure in honor of our former news director, Jim Boyle, who passed away from brain cancer. All of the money from the event goes to brain cancer research. For more information, visit ksatcommunity.com.
All right, another hot and humid day expected tomorrow. 93 degrees, the forecast high temperature, just a 10 to 20% chance at best for an isolated shower. A little bit better rain chances, especially by Wednesday, then drier air and cooler mornings into the second half of the week.
I don't care if it says 90 on there as long as it's lower humidity.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here tonight on the Night Beat.